In New York, boy, when it rains, Boomer, you know it better than anybody else, it really pours. And after that humiliating loss to the Rams, many in this town are asking, has Ben McAdoo lost the locker room? First question, and Pete Radovich actually asked this one in the green room. Have you ever been a part of a team where the coach has lost the locker room?
No.
Any level?
No, JB.
No. Boom.
Yes.
Okay,
I have, actually. And usually what ends up happening in that situation is that the players lose respect for the coach, the way the coach is handling things, the way the coach is handling adversity. And in this case, Ben McAdoo, the job may just be too big for him. I don't know.
Why do you say that, Boom?
Well, the messaging out here, especially in New York, with all the peering eyes, all the criticism, everybody's got an opinion, and pretty much all the ex-Giant players who work in the media around here all said the Q word, quit, that the players quit on the coach. Now, the coach has had to suspend 2 players for a game, DRC, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, and, of course, Jack Rabbit Jenkins this past week. And now, all of a sudden, you are asking him whether or not his team quit on him, and then he's stumbling in the press conferences. It is not a good look. It's not Ray Hanley-esque as it was when you were here, Phil, but it is pretty close to that right now.
You mentioned Phil, and he is an ex-Giant, so I hate to put you on the spot, but I have to ask you, have you been hearing those kind of comments coming from some of your ex-teammates?
Well, yeah, I've read some of them and everything like that. I just look, I was on many teams, not many, but quite a few, that we were bad. But I don't ever remember there being a lack of effort or going in the locker room like, oh, we got no chance this week. And we've had this discussion before this year. As a player, you always, no matter what the circumstances are, you do what? You believe this is the week, man, we're going to do it, and all those. So it bothers me when it kind of comes up. It makes it come to this. Things you look for. Missed tackles. What are missed tackles? Why do they happen a lot? Well, really a lack of hustle. Blown assignments. When you start blowing assignments as a football team, that tells you something about the coach and what's going on. And I look at special teams. That, too, shows me a sign, and the Giants had it this past week. But the big thing is Boomer, Ray, we say this all the time. Were you ever late for a meeting? Were you ever late?
Nope.
15. I was never late for a meeting. So, we didn't have guys that showed up late for meetings. If you did, man, it was unthinkable. You were in trouble. But wait, last thing, Bill Belichick had a player text in a snowstorm. Could be a few minutes late to the organization. He says, don't worry, turn around and go home.
No kidding.
We'll see you tomorrow.
And as a captain of a squad like you, but go ahead.
I was going to ask you one question. I watched the Giant tape. There are guys that are turning down tackles.
Yeah.
There are defensive guys turning down tackles. And I don't want to name names right here. All you have to do is go back and watch the tape. Have you ever been in a situation where you saw a teammate of yours turn down a tackle, and did you call him out on it?
Yeah, of course. And this is what my point is. You hear this thing about coaches, right? Oh, they stopped playing for the coaches. They quit because of the coach. The coach is irrelevant.
Yeah.
When you cross those white lines, that's between me and you. And, man, I'm not playing with no one that quits on me. So you come in Baltimore, right? You got to change the culture from Cleveland because they're used to losing in Cleveland. So now we had to change the culture. We went 4-12. We went 6-9-1. We went 6-10. We went 8-8. And by the time we got to 8-8, we had figured out who had the right mentality, not for the coach, but for a team.
Hold tight. So I want.
So he is saying, JD.
No, but I want Boomer and Phil to respond to this because you're saying you ought to have more pride as a player yourself to not let anything like that happen where you call it quits.
Yeah.
What, so
this ain't about calling nobody. This ain't about calling nobody out. But if you're Landon Collins, coming from a program like Alabama,
right?
Then you have to teach them people how to. You got to teach your players how to win.
I mean, you took the lead in a number of situations. I'm not going to call any names out, but don't you guys think that some coaches can contribute to the demise of the team?
Yes, they can.
Oh, yeah,
there's no question.
They can, yeah.
There's a lack of respect up there, but I would just say, like I was asking Ray, there are guys on this New York Giant team that led this team to an 11-5 record last year. This team was a playoff team last year, and now all of a sudden they come back this year. They have all these high hopes. They got punched in the mouth week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys, and they have not responded from that. They lost Odell Beckham Jr., and now all of a sudden this defense looks like it is in disarray because you have 2 of your most prominent defensive backs missing meetings, being insubordinate to the coach, and he has got to suspend them. So
could you guys see where the turn took place with this team?
No,
because this is the same coach, right?
I want to answer it this way. What he is saying is true. Look, if the team quits on the coach, don't look at. He's right. Look, what does that say about the group of players that's supposed to be the leaders in the locker room? We're going to practice hard. You're not doing your job or whatever. You got to have that. So I think the Giants have a few of those players. Do they have enough? Well, we'll find out as the year goes on.
In this case, I think the ship has sailed. There's no way. You have that many empty seats in that stadium. You have all sorts of problems. Unfortunately, Ben McAdoo, a good coach, a good person, I'm sure. But in this case right now, it does not look good for him.
JB, one thing you got to take for granted in the NFL. Bill Parcells always said it. Do I have to commend you for trying and playing hard? Can't I take that for granted? And, you know, it's about winning and losing. That's what it's about.
Not a pretty scene.